Welcome to the Kamado Show. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Juan. This show is an anime lover's safe haven catered toward the average anime lover, free from spoilers.
This episode, we launch our second season, and we discuss Netflix's live-action One Piece, Season 2, Episode 1, the beginning and the end, and compare it to the anime. But first, I want to introduce a good friend of mine, Juan, to the show. Juan, welcome.
Thanks, Brandon. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, well, we're happy to have you. When we have new people on the show, we like to get to know them a little better. So I thought maybe we could break into things and discuss some of your anime that you watch. And I thought maybe perhaps we could kick things off where you could tell us about your first anime.
The very first anime I ever watched, this was even before I knew that it was called anime or what anime really was. I still consider them cartoons. I was about 4 years old, and I was just sitting at home watching cartoons Saturday morning, and the show came on. It's called Captain Tsubasa. It's basically a Japanese anime, soccer anime, and just intrigued me because soccer is my favorite sport, and I love playing it. So then when I saw this show about like I said, I considered them cartoons back then. It just captured my interest instantly. So that was my very first anime ever that I can remember.
Then I want to advance on to your gateway anime. Now, the gateway anime we call is what anime got you into anime?
Kind of wearing the merchandise here. It has to be Dragon Ball Z. It's my all-time favorite. It's the one that really suckered me in, and it remains my all-time favorite to this day.
For those who are audio-only listeners, he's rocking the Turtle Hermit, right?
Yep, Turtle Hermit kanji, and on the back we've got
King Kai's by chance?
Yep,
okay.
King Kai's kanji in the back, so
very good.
Yep, sporting the goods.
Okay. Hey, well, awesome. So some of you may be asking, well, what about Coley? Where's she at? So she actually had some pretty serious neck surgery. So while she recovers, we're bringing Juan onto the show, and whenever Coley gets better, she'll join us again whenever she feels comfortable doing it. But
we definitely wish her well and a quick recovery, and hopefully can come back to the show and pick up where she left off.
Well, let's get to it. Season 2, Episode 1 of One Piece, Netflix. Throw out a little disclaimer here. There's just so much in this first episode that we basically are just going to have to talk about like post-time skip stuff. We tried not to in our last season when we talked about it, but there's just so much here, like Dressrosa, for example. So it's just almost impossible not to talk about post-time skip here. So I think that's a fair spoiler to call out in advance. I don't even know if that's a spoiler since that's been
discussed and mentioned.
Yeah.
And a little disclaimer from my end. I have to say I'm fairly new to this anime. I honestly didn't start watching it until the live action on Netflix. So I watched the first season, and then of course, being an anime lover, I had to jump in and watch the actual anime. So I do apologize if I sound like a noob or that I don't know what I'm talking about.
I think it's good. Get an authentic reaction.
Yeah. Different point of view from someone that, it's an anime that's been around for a very long time, and someone that's literally putting some fresh eyes on it. It'd be an interesting perspective.
All right. So how does this episode kick off now here?
Basically, we get to see Miss Valentine and Miss All Sunday. Again, brand new characters to me. Had no clue who they were. But I got to say, one of the things that I'm absolutely loving about this anime and live action remake is that they're so accurate. They're so good at capturing the characters' looks, their mannerisms. I mean, everything about them. They are so spot on, and it's rare to see a show that pretty much picks up every single detail. So that's one thing about this show that I'm just absolutely in love with. They're so accurate in their portrayal of each of these characters that they're introducing in the live action.
Fans overall are pretty excited about what we've seen so far in the first episode so far. Okay, and then after we see these characters, we see the poster showing Luffy's bounty, 30 million berries now. Now, in the anime, they had an entire episode dedicated to just this. Here they just show his poster.
Yeah, they mention it, but they kind of brush over it a little bit. But yeah, like you said, in the anime, it's a full episode dedicated to it. And if it goes back to Luffy's town that he came from, and everyone's excited, they almost see him as a hero when they see his face and his bounty that high. They're like, hey, one of our guys made it, and they're actually proud that he's a pirate that's making a name for himself. So. Yep.
So they, as they get into things, we see this flashback between Roger and Garb. Vice Admiral Monkey D. Garb, as Roger introduces him, the man who captured Gold Roger. Now, in the anime, this actually takes place much, much, much later, but it's interesting how they are introducing this now.
And, it's trying to figure out what kind of relationship they had. I mean, it's almost like a rivalry that they've had, and like an ongoing relationship that they've had, like almost like cat and mouse, but they almost like enjoy it.
Well, sure, yeah, you had the Navy chasing pirates. That's basically, was kind of the game they had going on a little bit there. But you really could tell from this scene, if you've only watching the live action, that's fine. You get this from the anime for sure. But Garb and Roger really have this like mutual respect for each other.
Yeah, definitely. You feel that camaraderie almost. I mean, that it's almost like a friendship. That sensation that they've known each other a long time, and it's almost like, hey, I finally caught you, but it's like a bittersweet kind of thing.
And it goes so much deeper than that in the anime. I don't know how much we want to get into that here now, because you do learn more about Roger at this point, in the anime at this point. But you really see how Roger trusts Garb. He's a good man, so much that he basically asks him to raise his son. But he said, I trust you because I know you'll keep it a secret from the government, because, well, what would the government think of the pirate king having a son? Well, so he essentially trusts Garb so much and respects him so much that will you raise my son? And he knows his son will be raised right by Garb. All right, so let's go back to present time now. They're deciding where to go next. What do they end up going with here?
Yep. So basically, differences between the live action and anime. They're trying to figure out where they're going to go next, and basically they decide to go to Low Town if you follow the live action a little bit more closely, or Log Town if you are more dedicated to the anime. So you get a little difference there in just the name of the town itself.
Yeah, and I'm gonna hold up just to show another difference, the manga here, where they call it Rogue Town with an R. So they call it three different things, and the three different mediums pronounce it differently.
Yep. So I guess,
I don't know why.
Pick your poison,
changes.
whichever one you like. You can't go wrong with any of the three names.
And part of me wonders why. I don't know if it has anything to do with. I've heard that R's and L's in the translation are like pronounced pretty closely in the Japanese to English, and that's why sometimes you see that. I don't know if that's the case here, and maybe if there's a viewer out there who is fluent in Japanese and can confirm one way or the other.
Yep, drop some comments and let us know if you know a little bit more about that, and we'd like to hear from you.
Yeah. Well, and similarly with Zoro, in the 4Kids version, they call him Zolo. And, in the anime and the live action, it's Zoro.
So there's
but
the
in the
RL.
manga, again, I'm going to hold up another page here. It is Zolo. Zolo, like how 4Kids has it. So, I don't know if that's why, but it's
just interesting. I mean, it happens in different anime as well. Happens in Dragon Ball Z, in Japanese, you hear the name Kuririn, and in English, here we call him Krillin. So it happens in different anime as well. So it's just kind of an interesting thing to analyze. That the R's and the L's they just kind of seem to be almost interchangeable in Japanese.
All right. So what are some other differences that we have between this live action and the anime here that we have noted.
Another big difference that I noticed was the moment that they arrived to Logetown, and basically Luffy finds out that this is where where Gold Roger was executed.
Monkey D. Roger.
Yep. he wants to see the platform. He's so excited. Basically this is where people were told about the One Piece, and it's basically where all the frenzy happened after he makes that announcement that, hey, the One Piece is out there. And so Luffy, he's super excited, wants to see the platform, and so in the anime he just takes off, doesn't care about anyone else. He doesn't know where he's going.
Yeah, and then here in the live action, like, Luffy, go with Sanji. And a little difference there. I also notice Sanji's not running off to look for women.
He's there with purpose. He's there. He needs to resupply with all the produce and meat and everything. He needs to reload the ship. So that's his mission.
Well, they had a whole episode dedicated to him earning this elephant bluefin tuna in a cooking competition that must have just been filler, because you don't have that in the manga. We don't have that in the live action either.
Yep.
So live action in this case actually followed the manga, and I can even flip to it here where it just shows where Sanji just goes straight
to the fish market.
Straight to the fish market. I lost my page here, so I'm trying to catch up here. But yeah, he basically just goes straight to the fish market.
Finds that prize fish.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. The live action pretty much follows the manga more so in this case.
Yep, like you said, it's probably a little filler episode in there. As I've been watching it, the anime version, I follow a filler list, and there's not a whole lot of true filler in the anime for these first episodes that I've been watching, but there's a lot of manga filler mix that I've noticed. So I'm assuming this episode was a little bit more of a mix, because there's still a lot of stuff that does happen that we do see in the live action, but the whole cooking contest, definitely just doesn't happen. So
all right, and then we have a first look at Captain White Hunter Smoker, or if you're going by the manga, it's White Chase Smoker. So again, I don't know why change that, but it is a little different there. But nevertheless, depending on which one you're going with, they really nailed the look.
Oh, for sure. Yep. The two cigars in his mouth, just the look, his hair, just the bulkiness of this character. I mean, every detail they nailed.
Yeah. Minor difference to note. In his first look, we see him hauling in Cozy of the Yes Pirates. I don't know if it's Cozy or Koozie. I think, is it Cozy? Is that?
I think that's what they. Yeah.
Okay. Him calling in Cozy of the Yes Pirates, whereas in the anime, Tashigi is seen cutting them down.
Yep, she's the one that gets the honors of taking them down and capturing them.
I think Pocky was the other guy's name, and this might be one of those cases where they're like, I wonder if they just were trying to cut a corner. They don't have to cast a person. They only have one of those guys, Cozy, and they didn't even show Pocky. Where Smoker just says his buddy didn't have the luxury of making it back.
So sometimes with budget restraints, might have to make some of those choices. Which again, it's minor characters, so easy to cut those.
And I don't know if that's why it was.
Speculation. But another thing that we see in the anime is when Tashigi and Zoro meet. I mean, it's they're kind of bump into each other in the street, and he accidentally breaks her glasses, and then sees her and reminds him of his childhood friend. And I'm going to butcher the name, but Kuina, I believe is her name.
Yeah. Good memory. I forgot her name.
So he just kind of gets taken aback when he sees her, like, oh my gosh, you look just like a person that I used to know, but she's been dead for so long. So yeah, and then of course we get into the scene where she makes him pay it back by working at the marine base and mopping floors to pay for her glasses.
Yeah, which we don't get in the live action. They just skip ahead onto the next thing. Yep. And then we get a first look at, and this is where we're gonna get into Dressrosa. So time skip here. It's interesting that they introduced Bartolomeo the cannibal, or Rooster as they call him, nickname him in the anime. Because he's not introduced until episode 633, which is the Dressrosa. Yeah, the Dressrosa arc.
Not quite there yet.
Yeah. So my question is, I'm going to kick this off to the audience. Question is, why does Netflix introduce him so early, do you think? I really don't have an answer why they would do that, but...
Yeah, I really don't know anything about the character. If it wasn't for us, talking about it, I even saw a little discussion on Facebook the other day that mentioned that they brought in this character so early on when he isn't introduced in the anime until much, much later. So someone that hasn't been watching the anime for that long, I would have never been able to pick up on that. I just figured it's just another character that they just run into. That may or may not play a bigger role later on.
Yeah, it'd be interesting where they go with this. It's ironic because it's ironic him stealing from Nami, being kind of like this bad guy essentially throughout this episode a little bit, because eventually he does become a huge Straw Hat fanboy in the Dressrosa.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and you can tell that Luffy makes an impression on him after he sees the wanted poster and sees Luffy's big smile. He even passes by a mirror and he tries to mimic that same smile. So that he made an impression, and you get that feeling that, all right, this character, he's coming back. This is the last that we've seen of him. So again, with me not knowing that he's a major character, it's still, you get that little teaser that, okay, he's going to play a bigger role later on.
So next we get to know Tashigi a little bit more now in the sword shop. Yep. Right. So what happens here with Zoro and Tashigi?
And we find out Tashigi is a huge fangirl in terms of swords. She's even got a little booklet that she keeps on hand of all sorts of different kinds of swords, and she's the one that recognizes Zoro's sword. The
Wado Ichimoji.
There you go.
I think,
yep.
Right?
Yep. That's the sword that the sword shop owner's trying to basically rip Zoro off of. He's giving him just bits of what it's actually worth, and then Tashigi comes in and kind of wrecks his whole plan. Good for Zoro. He wasn't going to give up the sword anyway. Too important to him.
I need her to come with me buying a car.
Yeah, for sure. It'd be helpful to have someone like that. It'd be like, hey, no, like you're trying to rip my friend off. So someone like Tashigi, it's a good person to have around for sure.
Yeah. All right. Can we talk about Buggy and Alvida now?
Oh yeah,
the scene with them, their return.
Mm-hmm. That was another thing that the live action kind of skips over is what happened to Buggy after his first encounter with Luffy and the Straw Hat Pirates. Obviously, in the anime, we see that he has his own little adventures. He's got like 2 major episodes dedicated just to him and all that he has to go through, and then gets rescued by Alvida basically. And we don't really see that a whole lot in the live action. We just see that they're already together, and doesn't really explain how they end up being together. But when we see Alvida, she's definitely a little unrecognizable.
Yeah, eating that slip
the slip fruit. Yep.
Or in the anime, as they call it, the smooth fruit. Mm-hmm. So you want to call it the smooth fruit or the slip fruit?
Again,
and before you answer that, let me pull up my handy dandy manga again. So this is Shonen Jump, May 2006.
So the OG stuff right here.
Yeah. Here they do call it the slip fruit. So again, the live action is actually manga accurate. The anime called it smooth fruit. So,
Yep.
Again,
must be nice to just be able to eat a fruit and then all your fat just slides right off. I mean, what a diet plan that must be.
Oh yeah, Americans would be lining up.
Oh yeah,
for that.
for sure. Yep.
Yeah. Oh man, and it's still so the kind of the ongoing comedy of Luffy not getting Buggy's name right, and then of course he gets Alvida right.
Yep, right
off
from the
bat.
get-go. Yep, he's like,
her name, you remember?
Yep.
You met her once.
One time. Yeah, met her once. Like, but my name, you can't get it right.
He mentioned something about Gold Roger at this point. Gold Roger, as he said it. So I have a question for you,
Sure.
and then I'll kick it off to the audience. Buggy was part of Roger's crew. Would Buggy have known? Buggy was a kid. He was a kid, though. Would Buggy have known Roger's name, Gold D. Roger, or would he have just gone by Gold Roger, being a kid?
I feel like once you join a pirate crew, it becomes a brotherhood. I feel like you're going to know things about each other, whether it's something that they tell you directly or someone else says something about them. But yeah, when you join a crew, you're gonna want to know things about your crew members, especially about the captain. You want to know who he is, what he's about, to see if this crew is right for you. And I feel like he probably would have heard something or picked up on something like, okay, so and so called him Gold Roger or Gold D Roger. So I feel like if he didn't know like directly, I feel like he must have heard it from someone else calling him by that name. That's just again a guess of mine.
Okay, so you're saying yes, Buggy knew, but just for the sake of the public,
that's my guess.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Mm-hmm. Let's kick this off to the audience. What do you think? Do you think Buggy knew Roger's real name or not? Let us know in the comments. Kind of curious what other people think. Okay, so again, I don't remember if that was before the execution platform or closer to it. But anyway, we'll get past the execution platform here. But first, Smoker talks about when he sees Luffy smile when he's about to, or he thinks he's about to die. He just goes, that smile, like in... exactly like how he did it in the anime.
Yep. So
that smile,
almost like a mirror image of that scene there, and
with Roger.
Yep, exactly. And so that right away sparks an interest in like, okay, maybe Luffy is a little bit more dangerous than what he appears to be, and we gotta shut him down, because if he's not even scared of dying, what is he scared of?
Well, it's funny how you said the sparks, the play on the word there, the spark. Lightning strikes the platform, and luckily Luffy's made of rubber. Doesn't bother him.
Just gets a little shaken up. Buggy, he kind of gets the worst end of it, where he kind of splits back up into his pieces. But I do believe in the live action, it was his, I guess his right hand man, or it was someone else that had Luffy under the knife or under the sword on the platform.
Yep.
It wasn't Buggy like it was in the anime. So a little bit of a difference there.
Good catch. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Just something that I picked up on, watching the two. So, but yeah, either way, Luffy gets to live another day and get away.
That lightning strike was so fake.
Again, going back to budget issues. If you've only got so much money, you got to cut a corner somewhere. And
I bet you they have more money now that this season 2.
Oh, it's taken off, so they've got to be
I have to revisit where we talked about this last season on our show, where we talked about season 1. The viewership for this was insanely good, and it was one of Netflix's one of the highest viewed things, and well received. So
yep. I mean, like I said, I became almost an instant fan basically when I first saw the live action, which again intrigued me to watch the anime. So it definitely hooked me. So if I'm sure I'm not the only one.
All right, so we had this cool showdown between Luffy, Sanji, Smoker, which again, just like the anime manga was pretty cool. Smoker basically shows off his plume fruit, which is if you haven't seen the anime, basically just do anything with smoke. You could turn into smoke, pass through him, whatever. I don't remember if in the anime or manga if he specifically uses the smoke to suffocate Luffy like he did in the live action, but whether or not, I guess I assume he could.
I think he could. I mean, he definitely beats him up well enough with his smoke. I mean, he's able to like pick him up and slam him and push him around and basically do anything with against Luffy. And but vice versa, Luffy seems like he can't touch him every time he throws a punch. Just goes right through him, just like smoke.
Well, as they're fighting, they introduce, and again, I'm just gonna go ahead and say is basically a little bit about him, since we're skip to Dressrosa characters. Monkey D. Dragon here. So he grabs Smoker's wrist, and basically, just like in the anime, it's not really revealed who he is yet. So that's kind of cool how they're keeping that a little mysterious, like they do in the anime. But if you've seen the anime, they give you enough that's still
like they did
exciting.
earlier in the episode. I mean, they just keep dropping those little teasers there that again kind of keeps you wondering, all right, who the heck are these guys? And you know, it makes you want to watch more because you want to know who these guys are.
When Smoker knows who he is, he's like basically says something like, "What are you doing here?" And I think Dragon's exact words were, "The world's waiting for our answer." Something
like that.
lines.
Almost like it's not his destiny yet to catch Luffy, basically. Like, and
who stop a man from a voyage?
Yeah,
or
like
something like
he's the one that ends up, saving Luffy because of, the storm that he brings along and everything. And so Luffy's able to get away in the Straw Hat Pirates. So it's like he purposely intervened to make sure that Smoker was just not going to be able to catch Luffy at this time. So yeah, it makes you wonder, who he is. And, these names that they keep dropping, everyone has a D in the middle of their name. So it's like, all right, are they all related? Like, who are these guys? So again, someone that hasn't watched the anime, it's like, all right, we got Monkey D. Garp, we got Gold D. Roger, we got Monkey D. Luffy. Like, what's the significance of the D is what's going in my mind right now. And
well, even at the time of this recording in the anime, they still haven't fully explained that. They've given you little hints, but not necessarily.
Nothing too clear to explain the whole significance of it.
I really want to mention this little Easter egg. You look closely over Dragon's shoulder toward the end. You do see a quick shot of Sabo, who is also a character introduced not until Dressrosa. So again, really interesting how they're introduced. Like, they're showing little things of Dressrosa characters already.
They did it a couple of other times too. Another episode that wasn't shown in the live action was when Usopp is when he finds his goggles, his famous goggles. We don't see that episode when we meet Daddy the Father. Great name. I'm not sure how they came up with that, but Daddy the Father. And so we see his little daughter in the background. They don't show her. They don't interact with her a whole lot, but you can see in the live action, she's kind of in the back when Usopp is looking for some glasses or goggles. So we see her there, and then the scene where they're at the bar.
That's such a very fine detail.
We see the bartender. He's in the back when Captain Smoker's talking to Toshigi at the end of the episode. He doesn't say a word. He doesn't do anything. He's just kind of in the back, washing his glasses, that kind of thing. But he definitely plays a little bit bigger of a role in the anime.
Speaking of the bar, I think it's kind of cool, the interaction between Miss All Sunday and Toshigi, which of course does not happen in the anime, but here since they're really pushing the Miss All Sunday character as seemingly the villain of this season.
Very mysterious.
They interact there. So she calls her Little Bird. I wonder if that's some foreshadowing to Miss All Sunday's real name, or if there's some other reasoning there why she calls her Little Bird.
It leaves her her calling card basically, and so then we start thinking, all right, what's Toshigi gonna do? Is she gonna continue with Captain Smoker's mission and try to capture the Straw Hat Pirates, or is she gonna basically follow Miss All Sunday and decide to join her crew?
Yeah. All right. Well, Juan, thanks for joining us.
No, this was a lot of fun.
Episode.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah.
Glad you had fun. Yeah, this is fun having you. All right. So next episode, the adventure continues to Reverse Mountain, the entrance to the Grand Line. It's going to be a whale of a time. And that's all for today's episode of The Kamado Show. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Juan. Thanks for tuning in. Don't be a Kamado. Like and subscribe to our channel for more anime fun.
And please let us know what you'd like us to talk about, or if you'd like to be a guest. And we'll see you next time on The Kamado Show.